It's just under 2 weeks now until voters in the US head to the polls to decide their next president. The fight for the women's vote still dominates campaigning after Republican candidate Mitt Romney's comments about binders full of women.
Michael Ondaatje is a senior lecturer in American history and politics at the University of Newcastle and the United States Studies Centre at the University of Sydney. He joins us now. Good to have you with us.
Great to be with you.
Okay, too close to call?
Knife edge.
Yeah.
Too close to call at the moment. It's guesswork for pundits right now. I think Mitt Romney's probably got a little bit momentum after his stellar performance in the first debate. Obama put in, I think, the most miserable performance that a president has put in the history of these one-on-one presidential debates. That set Romney up quite nicely for the next couple of weeks, but as many of your viewers will know, Barack Obama came roaring back in the second debate, and that's evened things up a bit.
So you're saying that debates really do matter? Because, I mean, I've spoken to a number of commentators and they said, well, it doesn't really... People have already made up their minds. This will just solidify their vote.
Yeah, I was saying that about a week and a half ago as well, and I was saying that to some of my classes, and then had a little bit of egg on my face when Mitt Romney's support levels went through the roof after the first debate. And I think it was because Barack Obama's performance was so jaded, he seemed tired, he seemed like he didn't want to be reapplying for his job, and I think that has swayed a lot of independent voters to look to Romney as a possible presidential alternative to Barack Obama.
Let's talk about the polling. I mean, if it were a sort of one-on-one, basically one vote for one person model, Romney would be heading to the White House. But it's not as easy as that, is it?
It's not as easy as that. And the Gallup National poll suggests that Romney's on his way to the White House right now, 52 to 45 against Obama. But the Gallup poll that a lot of people are talking about is deeply inconsistent with a lot of other polls. And historically, when the Gallup poll is out of sync with other polls, it's off base. Most of the polls being conducted now in the United States suggest that this election is on a knife edge, and really importantly, in the state polling, Barack Obama holds a slim advantage.
What is the difference between these two candidates? I know there's a lot of commentary in the US at the moment that there's not much difference. In fact, there are headlines saying "Vote Obamney." they can't tell the difference. I mean, there's certainly been talk about their approach to the tax rate, for instance. But when you look at it, I mean, Romney's seeking a 25% top corporate tax rate. Obama's proposing 28%. For a lot of people, they're just fudging the numbers a little.
Look, I think one of the major differences is healthcare. You get Obama back in the White House, you get healthcare. Broadly speaking, you get Romney in the White House. That's in jeopardy. I think also they do share different visions on governance. Obama certainly believes more that government has a role intervening in the economy. We saw that with the stimulus package in 2008-9. Romney takes a more business approach. I suppose that's because of his own background in business. Really seeks to bring into American politics the Reagan model from the 1980s. I think that's the clear difference between the two. And like I say, I come back to healthcare. 37 million people will have healthcare with Obama. It'll be a different model with Romney. That's what I would say is the major difference.
Your specialisation is African American history. You know, Obama swept onto the stage, the first black president in US history. Has he really sort of lived up to that hope that he was, delivering to his voters back then?
I don't think he's lived up to the hope that he was promising people back then, and I think it was impossible for him to do that. He's a victim of the expectations that he created for himself. He's also a victim of the expectations that other people created for him. He has been a solid president, I think. He's governed from the centre, he's a pragmatist, but at the moment I think it's very difficult to make a judgment on Obama's hope and change rhetoric. It hasn't really materialised in the way that a lot of people expected it to.
Michael, just over 2 weeks to go. What is going to happen over that time? Will there be a so-called game changer? The economy hasn't moved much, seems to be fairly stable. There are signs of growth, of course, which is good for Obama. Are you expecting anything out of the blue?
I'm not expecting anything out of the blue, but I think something really significant has happened in the last 48 hours, and that is in the key swing states, the unemployment rates in 5 or 6 of them has fallen. Now that will play well for Barack Obama moving forward in the next 2 to 3 weeks. The critical state, I think, or well, there are two critical states. Florida's one. There'll be a lot of campaigning in Florida, the two teams. Ohio is the other one. Ohio has elected the president in every election since 1964, and no Republican has ever been elected to the White House without winning Ohio. Ohio, at the moment, the unemployment rate is about 7%. It's 2% lower than when Reagan won that state in 1984. I think that's really a one to watch in the next couple of weeks.
Michael Ondaatje, thanks so much.